As the elevator opened up to the party below, I saw pretty much what I was expecting to see. All of my mother and father's business associates gathered round, some having wine or champagne, a spread of delicious-looking food that I wouldn't of course be able to reach without a fight. Trying to make your way through adults was a bit like trying to move boulders. They tend to ignore that you exist, and even when they do pay attention to you, it's never good. Always with the cheek pinching and the asking where you intend to be in 5 years and how one day you're going to run your dad's company. It was always the same boring, tedious things. Myself and Michael started to make our way through the party, looking of course for my mom and dad, which wasn't hard to do as today was her birthday party, so my mother was the center of attention. People usually heading towards her with some sort of gift. Heading in the direction following the other presents, we soon found our mother and father, both with smiles, jovially having conversations with members of the party. People congratulating my mother on yet another successful year, asking how she was. Her smile was average, what you'd come to expect from her when she was dealing with Dad's business associates. But the moment she saw me and Michael, a real smile covered her face. We could always tell the difference between Mother's social smile and the smile that seemed to feel just for us. A truly happy one. "Oh, my boys! You're finally here, I see," our mother exclaimed, opening her arms towards us as we ran to her, and she gave us both a very big hug. "Well, I'm glad you two could make it. I was beginning to worry that you weren't going to be in attendance." "You certainly have that right. You're more than 5 minutes late," our father exclaimed. "You know how I feel about tardiness." "Sorry, sir. We won't be late next time." "I certainly hope not. It's not as if your mother's birthday is every day. You'd think that you'd be on time for that." "She's never late to any of your birthdays, young man," he said, looking back and forth between me and Michael, somewhat sternly. But I suppose boys will be boys. No doubt Michael needed some help in his preparations, correct? My father said, a slight smile ebbing in my direction. "Yeah, maybe a little," I replied, smiling back. "Hey," Michael replied. "I'm not a toddler, you know." "Well, of course you aren't," my father replied. "From the way I hear it from your fencing instructor, you fight like anything but a child." "He's been telling me good things, Michael." "So, when's our next sparring session going to be? Think you can beat the old man yet?" Our father said, smiling to Michael. Don't think I'm that far along, but I'm working on it." "Glad to hear it, son," our father replied. "Oh, I see you have some things with you. Presents for your mother, no doubt." "Yeah," me and Michael replied. At which point, my mother grabbed the glass sitting on a table next to her and a fork, beginning to chime the two together, making noise, which quickly began to gather the attention of people nearby, spreading out into the room as everyone began to draw their focus in our direction. "Quiet, everyone. I'm about to receive the most important gifts of the night. If I might have your attention for a short time, so that we might see what my sons brought me," she said with a joyous smile, placing the wine glass and the fork back down. "Well, I just can't wait to see what my two beautiful boys have gotten me. So, who would like to go first?" "Oh, I will," Michael said, stepping forward in a rush, very anxious to give our mother her gift. "I got this for you," he said, holding out the large square, flat object covered in wrapping paper. "Oh, what a nice little package," my mother said with a smile, grasping the present and beginning to unfurl the paper. As she did, she had a look of surprise on her face. My dear, is this what I think it is? A first edition recording of Ode to Joy. Oh, this is wonderful, our mother said with a smile on her face, leaning down to once again hug Michael. Oh, you know me so well. Thank you, son. Yeah, I think Michael's got something for you too. Gabrial has something for you too, Michael said, turning in my direction. Oh, of course he does, my mother replied, releasing Michael from the hug, as she gently set the container with the record safely held inside of it down on the table next to her. And what has my other wonderful son brought me? I nervously stepped forward, everyone looking on in the spectacle of the situation didn't really make me comfortable. So I nervously held out the box with the first of my two presents inside. Oh, what do we have here? My mother said, grasping the box and removing the lid, at which point she saw the object inside. Oh, well, what in the heaven is this? She said, gently grasping the small object from the box and removing it, placing the box to the side. It's something that I made for you. I know that you like to play music, so I got someone to keep you company. Or should I say I made someone to keep you company. Oh, it looks lovely. How does it work? My mother replied, looking towards me with a curious expression. I'll show you, I said, putting my hands out to accept the item back. She handed me the small bird, which I quickly set on top of the table. After giving a small whistle, the little bird quickly sprang to life. The golden lights that gave it that beautiful golden glow sheening off of the metal. After which I whistled a short tune once more, and once again the bird seamlessly followed along, duplicating my whistle perfectly, at least the tone, in a perfectly pitched, chirping sound. Oh, that is wonderful, my mother replied, hearing the bird's song. Will it do that with anything? Yeah, I replied. It's programmed to pick up any sort of audio volume and duplicate, so long as it's within a frequency that it can handle. So basically most music is very easy. You play, it sings. Oh, you are so clever, she said, reaching down and hugging me tightly. Oh, both my boys are so talented. I wonder how I ever got such gifts. Oh, didn't you say you had one more? Michael said, looking at me as my mother released me from the hug. Oh, and another one? Yeah, I replied nervously. I was planning on giving it to you when we were more alone. Come on, don't be shy, bro, Michael said, giving me a nudge with his elbow. If you've got a present, now's the time. I sighed. Now there's no need to be nervous, Gabriel. It's perfectly fine. I'm sure that whatever it is, I'll love it, my mother said, being very genuine. I guess so, I replied, beginning to look around to find the piano at the other end of the room. Well, I wanted to do something special for you, so I learned to do something that I hoped you'd like, I said as I began to make my way over towards the piano. My mother, with a curious expression, wondering why I was walking that way, and followed without hesitation, everyone clearing way as we made our way towards the grand piano in the party hall, at which point I sat down on the seat, opened the lid, The piano already had this music that I intended to play set on it. My mother used this piano frequently and usually had a very nice selection of music. But there was one song specifically that I had learned to play. I had never played the piano to anyone else and learned to do it all on my own. So it was meant to be a surprise. As I chose the music sheet for Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, as I extended my arms to the piano keys and began to gently press through them, the melody of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata filling the room. A silence seemed to fall over everything, as everyone seemed to simply absorb the music. To be honest, it made me somewhat nervous, the only thing being audible being the music that I was playing. But as the song came to its end, and I breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that it was over, and began to turn around, wondering what my mother's response would be to the music, I turned around to a battery of applause, everyone clapping furiously, and my mother having tears in her eyes, quickly rushing over to me whilst everyone else was still applauding, embracing me tightly. "That was beautiful! Wherever did you learn that? I haven't seen any instructors," she said as she tried to clear the tears from her eyes. No, I learned to do it myself. I wanted it to be a surprise. So I made a keyboard. That wasn't very difficult, but the learning how to play was. I'm talking really difficult. But I eventually got good at playing, well, at least this one song.